sky above you looks like shattered stained glass. Moonlight seeps through the cracks between the panes, reflecting down on a large metal structure. The rippling and shifting fractal light gives the illusion of being underwater, but you know that not to be true, as you can hear the raging sea below you, waves crashing against the supports of the structure. There's a moment where you think that this optical illusion is causing you to feel disoriented as you stagger forward. But then you look down at the blade that's just been thrust through your chest. Jeremy, could you please introduce your character?
So, I am playing a character named Neo-Plasm. Neo-Plasm's pronouns are they, them. They are a spathinae mechanically, though not in actuality. In actuality, they are not a swarm of small insectoid-like beings. They are a large, conscious, amorphous biomass who is housed in armor that has an internal void system which allows the vast majority of their biomass to stay out of sight and be sort of held safely and allow them to maintain vaguely humanoid shape so as not to alarm those and also allow them to easily fit into ships and other spaces. They contain multitudes, both figuratively and literally. As they look down and regard a blade protruding through their chest, I think they looked out and simply mutter, "Curious. Do I feel anything? Like, do I feel pain from this blade, or is it just that there's a blade in me now?"
Oh yeah, no, it sucks. It hurts a lot. And it hurts even more as it gets ripped out from behind you. And you hear the clacking of what sounds like a porcelain.
Can I sense what is moving? Because I have blind sense based on vibration. Can I sense what is moving behind me now?
Yes, there is a bipedal humanoid figure. And as you sort of like get this sense of the vibrations and things moving, you can tell that it has almost marionette-like joints and doll-like hands, these sort of like perfectly partitioned joints, and that's what's clacking. More specifically, you hear its hand reform from a blade that has just impaled you into a normal humanoid hand again.
Oh my. Am I alone right now? Am I joined by my compatriots?
You are joined by your compatriots. And Liv, could you introduce your character as your ears are bleeding? Ooh. The sound of the giant metal apparatus on this structure as it slams down and drops something into the water below rattles your brain. It is so loud, and you're not sure if it's just the volume of this clatter or if it's the injuries you've sustained making it worse, but it feels like someone has reached into your brain and is shaking it every time this massive metal arm raises up and slams back down.
Yeah, I'm playing an android soldier who uses they them pronouns called Voyage, and this sounds like a no good very bad day for Voyage because they're quite new to this little brigade of fighters, of investigators, because they have only just started inhabiting this android body, because previously the person who came along for these adventures was called Bravery, and their soul departed this android body, and now Voyage, who tends to, as their namesake would suggest, voyage across different worlds, different galaxies to, take in the sights, and it's almost kind of like a tourist, has found themselves in this body, and it's not feeling very good right now. I think that they are grasping like the sides of their head to try and just ground themselves in any way, trying to almost like plug up their ears and stop the bleeding from happening, and just kind of like staggering around. Yeah, how is my vision at the moment? Like, am I seeing things normally?
Yeah, it is. There's a bit of like a blur every time this, like, just out of sheer pain. Every time you hear this like loud, like clang, clang, but you're able to see your assailants, or at least Neo-Plasm's assailant. And it is this tall, slender, for lack of a better word, marionette. It looks like a puppet. One of those drawing figurines that you get to like do anatomy studies. It looks like one of those, but stark white, now splattered with the Do you bleed, Neo-Plasm? What do you think comes out of you when you're stabbed?
So yeah, I think what leaks out of me is pure liquefied biomass. It is not blood. It maybe resembles blood, but it has, I think the hue is much more muddy. And it looks chunky as it is flowing out of me. And I think I instinctively turn my head to the side and say, that will need to be replaced. And I would like to, if possible, sort of reorient my body naturally, which is basically my armor just shifting so that my head sort of spins around and all of my limbs sort of and bend in the opposite direction. So I'm now facing this creature. And I'm like
fully
to
screaming.
If I may, I would like to dampen my hearing for a moment over the sound of Voyage's screaming. I'd like to cast Dispel Magic, and I would like to specifically, if this thing looks like a marionette, I would like to cast Dispel Magic and specifically name the effect that animates, or the magical spell that is animating this creature.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. What does spellcasting look like for you?
In this case, what spellcasting looks like is the liquid that is pouring out of me suddenly becomes animate. It jumps to life and spurts out of me in a great gout that floods over this creature's body and tries to seep into its circuitry and in between the plates and the metal pieces that make up its body. I try to start gumming up its works with viscous flesh and try to start interfering with whatever magical signals are powering this thing.
Incredible. As this does, as you begin sort of like working your way into its joints and gumming up its elbows, its knees, all of the sort of like places in which it articulates, you feel your spell fail. And if you'd like to roll me a mysticism check,
I would love to.
You might be able to discern a little bit more information here.
That is a natural 20 for a 37.
Hell yes. Okay, with a natural 20, there is no magical effect happening on this creature, which, for all intents and purposes, makes no sense because it is a construct. So there should be some animating force. But for whatever reason, there is nothing magical about this creature.
Can I look around for Bexley?
Yes. As you scan the environment, give me a perception check.
Will do. It is 5. No, my big, huge, muscly arms are kind of like quaking as I'm like shuddering and shivering, and I'm looking around frantically for Bexley, but can't seem to find them, I think.
But thankfully, Bexley can see both of you, as they are currently on one of the platforms, one of the catwalks above you on this structure, and clutching on to a railing that is currently being bent down as the middle of this catwalk has been absolutely exploded. And Bexley, you feel yourself beginning to sort of slide down the catwalk as it's beginning to fold in on itself. Could you do me two things? Candace, would you like to introduce your character? And then once you've introduced your character, please give me a reflex save.
Bexley Vull is a black femme about, 5'9", 5'10". They have deep brown skin that is very, very sweaty at this moment. They have a shock of straight, kind of coarse red hair that's in a buzz cut on their head. They have really large, wide, dark eyes that almost look like black pools in their skull. There's definitely whites there, but their eyes are very, very large. They are currently pried open in a very kind of terrified look as they're kind of glancing around trying to discern what their next move should be. They are a relatively wiry build and frame and are wearing kind of like a hazard suit with, different like kind of things strapped to them. Their right hand is like a regular humanoid kind of hand with skin and flesh. The other hand, however, looks cybernetic. It's made up of all these little tiny little discs, it looks like, that is creating a pattern that has yielded the look of a human hand, but is clearly something that is anything but. Let's see. You said a reflex saving throw.
Yes, please.
13.
Okay. You slide down this catwalk that is now sort of folding in under pressure and just severe structural damage, and you're able to, as you're about to fall off the edge, able to grab onto one of the railings that is bending down as well. I will let you choose. You're welcome to either use that to slow your fall and drop down onto the same platform as Voyage and Neo-Plasm, or you're able to sort of like pull yourself up and keep a higher ground. Whatever, you have the option, you've succeeded, so you can use this to your advantage, either to get to the next floor down safely or stay above.
Does this assailant know that I'm here?
It would appear so. It seems like, judging by sort of the situation, it probably destroyed this catwalk.
Okay, perfect. I'm going to try and lift myself up just to get the high ground, to be able to kind of assess the situation that's happening beneath me. If I just drop down, I feel like that would give me a little bit more disadvantage depending on how I landed. So I'm going to try and pull myself up instead.
Cool. With this higher ground, this advantage position, give me a perception check.
26.
You're able to sort of get a battlefield sort of scan of what's happening here. You see several bodies of these weird marionettes that have been already dispatched and destroyed. There are 2 currently on this platform, one that is engaged in Neo-Plasm right now, and then there's another one sort of doing something in a far corner on a terminal, but it looks damaged. On top of that, you get your bearings. You're on what looks like, or what feels like, a oil rig in the middle of the ocean. Offshore, you can see a city in the distance where the land mass is. And Jeremy, could you roll me a d6, please?
Absolutely. That's going to be a 5.
It is a massive, sprawling metropolis of silver gleaming spires. These, imagine like every cyberpunk city you've ever seen, but clean. Like it's the good version, the good karma version of it. You can see a fairly intricate track of monorails running all throughout the city. However, in the center of the city, you see a column of light shooting up into the sky. And when you see that, you turn your attention back over to the battlefield, and you see a very similar column of light, but they're coming off of these marionettes. And it seems like, instead of sort of a uniform beam, it seems like they're coming from the wrists, the neck, and the legs, almost like strings of a puppet. And when you follow them skyward, they disappear into the sky. You can't sort of track them up to their origins. And it's only because you've seen this beam in the distance. So, for example, Neo-Plasm and Voyage do not see these strings yet. Mm-hmm. What would you like to do?
I think since we're in the middle of this fray, it doesn't really seem to be a time for secrets. I think Bexley just looks at their comrades and explains that. Just immediately says like, "Hey, we need to get our shit together. Take a look over there," and they kind of point their left hand off into the distance, and they extend it into kind of a shape that is more of like a pointer rather than a hand. That beam of light, yeah, you see it?
Yes.
Oh, yep, I see it. I can see it. That means something is controlling these things, right? If we find them, we can stop it.
Yeah, and you got one down by the terminal as well.
Oh God. Okay. I can try. I can try and hit it.
I know you're new, Voyage, but you're doing a great job. Just, keep up the good work, Neo-Plasm. Weird. Awesome.
Thank you so much.
I smile in, like, you can't see it because I'm completely encased in metal, but I smile with all of my mouths.
Great.
Good friends to have. I'll run and try and head towards the other one and try and give it a smack with my plasma axe. If possible.
Yes, please.
To hit. That is 17.
That will hit, yes.
I can't stress enough how muscular and well built this android is. Like, they are built for fighting, except they have a look on their face that just screams, "I'm uncomfortable, I want to go home." And the damage on that is 16. You
bury your axe into this. You can tell this thing kind of knows you're there. It has damage. It's aware of, and it's been in a fight. You're able to just sort of like bury your axe into the back, right between the shoulder blades, and it doesn't flinch. It seems singular in focus as it works away on this terminal. Can I try something? Can I try and attack the pillars of light that are trying to kind of like working as strings? Can I see if I can? Yes. Yeah, for sure. Give me another attack roll. Okay. That's a 15 this time. Yeah, I mean they're just pillars of light. You can absolutely hit that. As you do, please give me a fortitude save. Okie dokie. That's 18. Okay, you succeed, so you're only going to take half damage.
Oh, good. Okay, good.
You take 22 points of damage. As it feels like if you've ever swung like a baseball bat against a metal pole, that reverb of sort of kinetic force ripples up through the axe and into your hands, and it hurts so much.
Yeah.
And it seems like you've done absolutely nothing to these like threads of light. And then there is I don't know how to explain it other than a psychic impulse telling you to not do that again.
Yeah. No, that's fair.
And that's not that's not coming from you. Like that's not Voyage making that decision. There is something telling you to not do that again.
Okay. Interesting. Yeah, I think with like the equivalent of tears streaming down my face, I like scream, don't hit the light. The light's bad. Don't hit that. Bad idea. What else can we do? Anyone?
I would like to, now that I've poured so much of my flesh, my biomass onto this creature, I would like to use detect magic to detect really, and I'd like to sort of slither basically as little tendrils and feelers and roots and like fingers start to extend out of this flesh that extends over its body and start to like rub against it and feel in between the cracks. I would also like to reach up and sort of feel along the strings as well. And I like to use detect magic to see what exactly is going on with this thing.
Okay. So as your dispel magic discerned, the creature itself is not magical. However, there is a very, very, very powerful alteration version of dominate person radiating off of those threads. I will also say, because detect magic is kind of like a burst area thing, you ping the magic items of your companions, they all sort of light up. Then you get a psychic reverb. And detect magic, I believe, has a range of 60 feet. You pick up the magical aura of the city and the beam of light that's coming from there. That is how strong that magical aura is. There is like almost like a radiation fallout of magical energy that is reaching to you from this distance. And you're probably like several miles away from the city right now.
Mm-hmm.
And you can, there's a strong aura of conjuration magic.
Okay. I describe all of that to my compatriots as the information. I would say also, because it's an AoE, not just on one creature, I will say that I poured more tendrils out over the area that have snaked over basically everything surrounding me. So I kind of look like a network, a flesh network that is spread out from myself. After explaining that, I would like to suggest to everyone, perhaps we should focus our efforts upon the strings.
Don't touch the strings.
Can I use a mind thrust against a second level mind thrust against the strings?
I believe, just so you're not wasting spell slots, I believe mind thrust requires a creature. Yes, you have to
that's
target
true.
a
It does say
creature.
one creature. You're absolutely right. So yeah, that would not work then.
You can't thrust on the strings, Jeremy. Can't do it.
Can I shoot the strings?
I would love
with
you
my
to.
gun.
Yeah.
I got a gun. I would like to take my rifle and I'd like to aim a shot at the strings.
I'm gonna dive out of the way.
Okay.
My laser rifle. That is a 19.
That hits.
Okay.
Please give me a reflex save.
Okay. Where is it? It's 9.
Oh, that's a lot.
You failed that roll. You take 44 points of damage.
Oh, wow. Okay.
As you pull the trigger and this laser hits the string, the strings are almost invisible unless you're actually focusing on them. If you're looking at the creature, they seem to almost like disappear. But because you're aware of them, when you look at them, this time when you shoot it, it becomes almost tangible. You see it sort of like absorb that energy from the blast, and it pulls back almost like a bowstring and launches it back at you, but like threefold. And you take a huge just hit in the chest. And once again, you get this psychic ping that says, don't do that again.
I scream, I know I'm new, but I really, as I said, don't touch the strings.
As I am hit by this, you see, like, and all this energy washes over me, you all see that my metal frame sort of collapses inward, and then it's just to refill as I pour more of my biomass into it. But that one hurt. I would, if anyone asks anything else they want to do, absolutely. I want to use telepathic message when I can on the strings.
I'm going to check in on Bexley. Bexley, what would you like to do? You're up top. You're sort of seeing these failed attempts to attack the strings. What would you like to do?
Bexley sends out their nanocytes over to the marionette type figure that is on the terminal. Okay. I want to try to send kind of like a cloud array and use combusting cloud to interrupt what it is doing.
For sure. Do I have to roll something for that, or is that a you thing?
Let's see.
Or does it just happen?
It says I can attack with a weapon formed with my gear array, and then I can spend a nanite surge to use the area of my cloud array as the area of effect for the blast weapon.
Okay. Great.
I think I just have to attack.
Yeah, you can just attack from range, yep.
Cool. All right. I'm going to use my cannon. My arm turns into this really interesting kind of cannon. It kind of has a piece that extends out and then kind of shifts into place, forming this kind of like nuclear warhead kind of thing. And I point at it and I kind of steady myself and take a more powerful stance to brace myself for the recoil that I know is about to happen. I aim it at the person that is standing in front of this, and 26 to hit.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm seeing this as sort of like when you shoot it, it's your nanites going out. They form around the marionette and then make the explosion, because that seems to be what you're cool.
That's exactly it. Yeah. So you see these like little, it almost looks like little thin hexagonal plates that are kind of morphing and shifting and changing as they shoot towards this creature. And once they get to that construct and they form around its head, there is an explosion where you see all of them kind of shoot out at the same time. That's 25 points of damage.
Hell yes. You see this marionette get blasted off the console. Voyage, you see these nanites swarm past you and around you, and then an explosion, like a localized explosion that's protecting you, erupt around this thing. And as it gets blown away, you finally get a little bit of quiet as that arm that's been slamming down stops and pauses. Then in the distance, you hear a rumble from the city, and you see a couple of those massive silver spires begin collapsing inwards towards that beam of light. You wanted to cast a thing, Jeremy.
Yeah, I was going to try and communicate with the psychic force that was speaking to us, or like seemed to be communicating with us. I wanted to use telepathic message to, but it does, well, it says targets up to one creature per level. I don't know if I can target the creature through the strings or not, if there is a creature.
As you try to use this spell and try to sort of return a message, what would you like to say?
I would like to say, what is going on here? Please give me the full rundown, because I know that we've been sent here to try and deal with a world that is potentially ending, that is potentially collapsing, right? That's my understanding. I don't know what this thing is that's in the city that's doing this, but it seems to be bad. And so is it that we are interfering with what should be happening in the city? Like, is the city saving itself? Are the people of the city or whatever entity is controlling the city saving? Does this oil rig need to go down? Or are we accidentally stopping, like, or are we actually fighting against the right people? Like, what's going on here? What does it want?
As you send this message out, there's this sort of like plea for information.
Yeah, and this is, by the way, me sort of my flesh, my biomass that was on the marionette, reaching up, sort of plucking the strings like harp strings, nice. with little fingery tendrils.
You get a message back, one simple word that just says "watch." As you see more of that city fold in on itself, and you hear the waves that have been crashing against this structure that you're on stop. The ocean comes to a dead, flat, mirror-like surface. And then the moon in the sky that you can see through this sort of like cracked stained glass sky begins rapidly changing through its phases. A sliver, and then a quarter, and then a half moon, and then a full moon, and then it completely eclipses, and it keeps rotating through this cycle. And as it does, you watch the water go from that sort of like flat mirror-like surface, and then it's roiling, and then it's falling, and the tides seem to be being drastically affected by this quick, rapid succession of moon changes. And then suddenly the water begins swirling around in a whirlpool. And for a moment, you can see something being mined from the seafloor. A almost jet black material that seems to not just be very, very dark, but also absorbing light. Like it seems to be the absence of light. And then the water begins creeping up, making a wall around this oil rig. And just as it covers your view, you see a colossal creature emerge from the center of the city, and then Neo-Plasm's alarm comes on, waking him up from a dream.
Dang.
And you hear something over the intercom saying, Extraction Team 6, please report to bridge.
Wow, that's crazy. I think this is even crazier for me, Neo-Plasm, because I do not normally dream. I think I cycle through parts of my biomass remaining dormant at various times because there is so much of me as I'm like lying in my little, I'll say a little receptacle for my metal body. I would like to rise up with my receptacle, like, because I just sort of stay in there all the time when I'm on the ship. I would like to like disengage myself and very quickly go hurrying down the hall, shooting out telepathic messages, trying to find my compatriots, Bexley and Voyage, to let them know, like, hey, there is something highly irregular that just occurred. I believe that there is perhaps something magical at play. Can I, just before we jump to them, can I roll a mysticism check to see if I can figure out what in the world this may have been? I am in fact a mystic, so I would like to try and see if I can understand what has taken place. That is a 30.
Cool. You don't dream. So you know this wasn't a dream. This wasn't a what you understand as like a biological thing of like your subconscious doing things and blah, blah, blah. That doesn't happen to you. That's not something that you experience. So this is maybe a vision, some sort of psychic connection, some sort of like magical image that's being projected to you. You're not sure what it was, but you know it wasn't a dream because you don't do that. And if it is a dream, something is changing you. Like there's something that is targeting you, and you're not too sure why.
Oh boy.
Do you get any pings from?
Yeah. Does anybody else get any as I'm like firing this? I assume that because we're on our ship, I have like channels that I can use to effectively contact Voyage and Bexley.
100%. Bexley, what do you think you're doing on the ship? You're on not a small craft. Right now you are on a massive space station. It is a huge ring that is like several kilometers in size, with a massive control tower in the center. And they sort of like, they're not attached by anything. They kind of just constantly float and near miss. There's a phenomenon that like kind of rattles certain parts of the base or the space station at times as the command tower like buzzes just like inches away, but they never actually crash. What do you do on the space station when you're not actively in task?
Oh, exercise and practice. Bexley is very serious about their job. I think that when they get that transmission to that page, that they would probably be traversing like some of the longer hallways. They tend to kind of jog and take little runs around the ship. They can often be heard saying like one side.
Yeah,
Move.
You see like some cadets or like, just ensigns or whatever walking by. And as they see you coming, they're already kind of like rolling their eyes because they know you're going to announce yourself. And I feel like you're always jogging everywhere. Like I feel like it's very rare to see you walking. So
yes.
There's a bit of a reputation where they're just like, okay, yeah, we get it. Like, cool. And they kind of make space for you. Voyage, what are you doing?
I think that Voyage is. Are there like any big? What would a view from the station look like? Do you think?
That's an excellent question. You look out into the void of space. However, it is not the infinite blackness that most people see from a space station. It is a swirling miasma of colors. You see occasionally out of these like sort of solar wisps and cosmic swirls, you see full objects forming. Sometimes it's a building or a spaceship or a tree, and then they kind of like blow apart into like sand-like nothingness, and there just seems to be like this swirls of creation of pure matter, because you know you are within a space called the Fold, which is the edges, the extreme edges of the universe. This is where the universe expands from. This is where everything comes from. And typically, it is well known that humanoids and sentient beings have a very hard time existing here, because the idea, the way that the brain comprehends reality tends to get really fucked up here. It's overwhelming for a lot of people, but there's no problem for you. You are at no risk. You are almost at peace looking at this window.
Yeah, I think that they kind of like their mouth hangs slightly open as they kind of like are in awe as they take all of this in, and I think they very slowly reach into their pocket and take out a camera and just wow, that's amazing.
And when you do that, you look down at the picture, and it's almost like nothing. It's like trying to take, like using an old disposable camera and trying to take a picture of a TV. It's kind of like just gray, other than the ship itself or the space station itself. You can see sort of like the frame of the window, but outside there's just kind of like nothing.
I look down at it and I'm like, I'm gonna get this framed. Yeah, and I think she'll kind of like they will kind of look into the reflection of themselves and kind of, for a second just like not, I kind of like have a dissociative little moment where they see the body that they're inhabiting and then they don't recognize it as themselves, and they see like, the kind of like cool gray of the skin or metal skin-like thing coating their body, and like you can see a bunch of like blue energy vein-like things going all throughout their body. Yeah, and I think they just kind of like reach out and like touch the glass and kind of like, almost in a way to like be like ground themselves, almost. And then probably hear Bexley run along going, move.
Yeah. You and Bexley sort of approaches you, and as you two sort of get this page together, you're then also hit with another message from Neo-Plasm declaring that something has happened, and you know that the three of you are meant to report to the bridge, so that's probably the best place to find Neo-Plasm if you are looking to regroup.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
The bridge itself is on that massive spire in the center of this space station that's kind of like free flowing, rotating around. It's at sort of the center of this tower. It's a full 360 view with a command terminal in the center, and then screens that wrap around the whole center. In the center dais is a large, the best way to describe it is kind of like an Ultron like robot situation that's being like suspended from the ceiling. It's just the upper half, the sort of where the pelvis would be, is just a giant silver ball, and then it's this sort of like triangular shaped body, and this long sort of narrow head that just has a singular red line down the middle of it. And when the three of you enter in, it takes notice. The line sort of glows for a second, and it swoops over to you, and it just says, "Extraction Team 6, you are required." And a readout prints from its stomach. It takes it from its hands and hands it to you, Voyage, and it just says very simply, apocalyptic event, research and avert, and then it says Universe 217.
I have a question for you, Game Master.
Yes.
Because I have established that like we are an existing team, is it okay for me to have, it just occurred to me that I probably would have wanted to do this if I could I have given both Voyage and Bexley a piece of my biomass so that I can
try.
Through this, it's sort of integrated into whatever systems they have, biological systems they have going, or mechanical, so that through this I can use telepathic message, like regardless of the distance, as long as we're on like the same planet, essentially.
If they are cool with having a chunk of you on them, absolutely. I will leave that up to their comfort levels.
Yeah,
But yes.
Would you two be okay with that?
Yeah.
What would Bexley feel like? Oh, Bexley's just like, yeah, okay, cool.
Yeah.
Yeah,
For
I
Bexley,
think,
it's like part of the job.
yeah.
Go.
I think Voyage is just kind of like, hesitant, but okay, if that's what you, yeah, okay, sure.
Okay. Then what I would like to do is through those little bits, very basically broadcast to them my dream and be like, as we're here, as they're like, give us this, I'm like, this is incredibly disconcerting as it is aligning with a dream I had. Yes, I said that correctly. Dream. I dreamt. I never dream. You know this. And I start to describe the dream and describe what I saw, especially towards the end. And I specifically say that it seemed like whatever being or entity or creature was controlling or influencing these marionette creatures then either caused or simply showed me the process of an accelerated time period in which that creature or a civilization was mining something from the sea. Perhaps it was a rewind. Perhaps it was an acceleration. It's impossible really for me to know. But they were showing me a temporal shift. I think it may have been the future, but it could theoretically have been the past of people mining something black. And I described what was being mined, that it seemed void-like that they were taking out of this planet. And then this great creature was attacking seemingly, but there was a great dome of water that formed over this oil rig-like structure as I describe all of this to them. And I'm just saying this as Voyage receives the readout, basically saying like, keep your eye out. Anything that sounds like Kaleidoscope Planet, anything like this sounds like that, be very, very wary because it could be bad.
I'm overwhelmed and I hand it over to Bexley. Like, can you really, I don't know, why am I screaming so much in your dream thing? Why?
You were very upset. I don't know. It seemed like something was affecting your audio capabilities.
Oh, okay. And then also it looks like I'm a little bit hurt because it looks like I told you not to hit the string things and then you like did it anyway.
Well, see, I want to clarify. I thought that you meant with my fists. I attempted to shoot at it thinking, well, surely at a distance I should be fine. Clearly I was not. I misunderstood you.
That's all right. It's good to know what was going through your mind. I can't make head nor tail of this, Bexley. I don't know what it means.
Overarchingly, it sounds like we need to get our shit together. But I trust that you guys will do that for me. What I want to understand is, of all the weird things that happened to you, Neo-Plasm, this is the first time you've experienced something like this?
GM, is this the first time that I have experienced something like this?
Yes. Yeah, 100%.
Yes. As you know, I cycle through my biomass, parts of it remaining dormant, other parts remaining active, and I do not experience what would normally be called dreams. This does not appear to have been a dream. It appears to have been a vision. There is no biological explanation for this. I think it is mystical in nature. Something sent me this vision, or perhaps I was attuned enough to the workings of the universe around us that I was able to receive it. But I have a vision that I would like to guess is referring to the mission that we have just now been given.
Bexley kind of claps you on the back of your suit or your carapace or whatever you would call your outer exoskeleton, and kind of looks over at Voyage. You see, this is what I'm talking about. This is getting your shit together. This is, you're a mystic, right?
Yes.
Yeah. See, so using your mystical powers to give us an advantage going into battle, that's the kind of thing you're going to want to do. And I know you're new to that body. I recognize that. Totally okay. You're still kind of learning the ropes. But this is the kind of shit we're talking about when I say that, we need to go in guns blazing. We need to try to get a jump on this thing. I love being prepared. And this is how we prepare.
That's great. I'm great. I haven't received any visions. Should I have received any visions?
No, you're not a mystic. You don't need any visions. I don't get any visions either. I'm not I'm not one of those. I'm not nearly imaginative enough for that kind of thing. But
don't sell yourself short.
You're very sweet. They kind of look at you with a very firm and stern face. It's soft behind the eyes, but the rest of it is all business.
Thank you for your comfort. Okay, let's get our shit together. What does it look like when I get my shit together usually?
That's a good question. You got to find that out for yourself, champ.
Oh, okay. Fine. I can do that. Okay.
Bexley starts to just stride in the direction of whatever looks most official, whether that's like sitting down at a table to finally discuss this quietly or going to see a higher up. Whatever is expected of them next is what they just kind of go and do. It's very mechanical almost.
the like little sheet has like a little barcode that you know that you're supposed to like scan with your little communicator. And once you do, a light on the floor lights up, and it seems to be guiding you into what you know is the dimensional penetration bay.
Perfect. Our ride is here.
I immediately start moving in the direction of our ride.
Yeah, I follow.
Yeah. So the bay itself, it looks kind of like a missile silo. It's very bare bones. There's nothing really fancy about it. It is just a sort of like metal steel cylinder with a small pod that is suspended just midair. There's no structural supports holding it in place. It's just there. But the second you step into the silo, it goes into 0G and you kind of like float. And you're able to get to the pod. It slides open and there are 3 seats sort of back to back in like almost like a triangle formation. And you know that all you have to do is you feed this piece of paper in. It does like a little calculation. It sets where you're going to move to and brings you to the correct dimension.
Convenient.
Do any of you have a pre-mission ritual that you like to do as you are getting set up in this pod? I'll start with you, Bexley.
Yeah, Bexley has some dog tags that belonged to their mom, and they kind of pull those out and kind of wrap them in their hand. Anyone who is looking for just a split second, you see that their right hand, while humanoid, kind of has kind of a creeping black fur that seems to be kind of extending over it as they close their eyes and they focus for a moment. It's not clear if Bexley is praying or if they're talking to, the spirit or soul of this person, but they're kind of communing with it for a moment. And then the second that it's done, their hand kind of flashes away from the front of their chest. And you can see that her hand is back to just regular human skin, and she reads the manifest a couple more times, like the directive, to kind of meditate on what we are supposed to be doing so that she has the clearest understanding of the mission as possible.
Voyage, have you come up with this might be like one of your first missions, but I feel like you've done a few, maybe not something as intense as this one. Have you come up with something yet? Or
So I think that the previous inhabitant of this body, Bravery, would have, been taking advantage of the 0G to kind of like do any kind of like training and like muscle work that they wouldn't normally be capable of in being gravitationally pulled to the floor. So kind of like, doing amazing squats and lunges and like, just like really, pumping themselves up, getting ready. And like, but I think Voyage is just kind of struggling with the seatbelt. And that's kind of, it's just like, it's them trying to learn they're just trying to learn how to inhabit and just be normal. I think that they're just constantly racked with anxiety. And I think their pre-mission ritual is trying to calm that down.
Neo-Plasm, do you have a thing that you do as you get ready?
Yes. So as we're about to deploy, I try to give an analysis of the biome that we are about to arrive in and see if there is any way that I can prepare myself or my compatriots ahead of time physically for that biome. I believe that I have already witnessed this biome, but based on my witnessing of it in my vision and the information that we've been given by mission control, is there any indication of any specific adaptations that might be useful for this kind of place? I'm happy to roll for something.
Give me a physical science.
I got physical science.
Yeah,
I got physical science. Wait, I can take 10, can I not? That's something in this game that I can do?
If you have, technically you take 10 when you're not in danger and you have time, which that is, both those scenarios are true. So yeah, you can take a 10.
Okay. I have a plus 14 to physical science.
Great.
So would a 24 succeed?
Yeah.
Awesome.
You know that this is, from what you experienced, if your vision is to be true and you're trying to get out to this oil rig, you will be in an aquatic area, but you also saw the landmass out in the distance. You also know that like it seemed pretty temperate. Like it didn't seem like an extreme climate. But again, you didn't see the whole kind of continent or world. So based on what you think, the directions are purposely vague. Because you guys are an interdimensional unit, the details that you have on these places are pretty limited. It's pretty much like energy readouts, so you don't have a detailed description of things. You just kind of know that like something bad is happening, and your job is to either figure it out or stop it. So you don't have specific details, but based on what you saw, you know that the environment is like conducive to life. Like you're not going to be in any danger in terms of like atmosphere. You're not going to be in any danger for like weather or anything as far as that you saw. So you know that like your landing should be fine in terms of acclimatizing to this region.
Okay. The other last thing that I would like to do I think, based on the name of this planet, or the name of this system, this world that we're going to, that there might be someone inside of me who knows about this? Because I could consult with, I have spells that would allow me to call forth the minds inside of my biomass from the various beings from around the universe that I have absorbed into myself, and try and see if they have information about it.
You wouldn't know until you got there.
Okay.
And because of the nature of what you do, you would need someone from that universe.
Right. Okay.
Since you are essentially swapping what universe you will be operating in.
Okay. Then I will hold off on that for right now.
Then, once you guys have done your pre-rituals, you hear like over the intercoms like chatter of various things, like people testing systems, getting you locked in, making sure all the safety things are in place. Everyone is making sure that your launch goes well, and then all of a sudden the walls of this like cylinder, this silo that you're in, glow very faintly purple. And it's a very distinct purple. It's the purple of the drift, which is the interplanetary, interuniversal highway that people use for faster than light travel. And then you feel your pod drop. And as you begin plummeting, you can kind of like feel your stomach lurch forward in the way that you get on like roller coasters and stuff.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Then there's
crying, throwing up.
There's a pop, and you know this to be the time in which you are nowhere, where you don't exist anywhere. It is the dimensional gap between going from one universe to another. During this time, you get a small recording saying, "You are entering verse 217. There was a previous anomaly that we recorded 2 years ago. It is stable, but now it is not. We are reaching catastrophic levels of danger. Please report, observe, and avert. If possible, your safety is paramount. Please extract if danger." And you all see in front of you little consoles pop open, and a emergency kit pops out. They're like little vials, and these are your ripcord. These are how you sort of return back to your dimension. It is a small sort of like tiny little vial that you know you have that you put into a like a little injector. You pop yourself with it, and it pulls you back. You're all given one of those from your respective like little seats, and then there's another pop, and you are plummeting through the atmosphere of a planet. Hello, Space GM Dane here to do the things. I'm officially the GM again, which is I feel like I've settled back into a very comfy chair that I haven't sat in a while, and it feels good. First and foremost, we hope you are enjoying the first episode of Campaign 2. Welcome to Frontiers, our second full-length season. I wanted to take a quick second and thank my incredible guests this week for joining me in this special prologue episode. I'm just going to go in the order that I have you all on my screen. Jeremy, would you like to introduce yourself and plug anything you wish to plug?
Absolutely. Hello, everyone. My name is Jeremy. Jeremy Cobb is my full name. My pronouns are he, him. I am a member of Three Black Halflings, which, if you haven't heard it or heard of it, is a TTRPG/nerd podcast that talks about diversity and inclusivity in TTRPGs and the nerd sphere in general. I would love for you to go check out that show in particular, and also our upcoming Kickstarter for City of the Black Rose. We just finished releasing an actual play series called City of the Black Rose, Herald of Shadows, sort of a diesel punk gothic horror noir series using D&D 5e, and we are coming out with a setting guide for it. We're partnering with the incredible folks over at Roll and Play Press to release a campaign setting, City of the Black Rose, on Kickstarter right now. Please go check that out. And if you want to follow me in particular, you can go find me on Blue Sky at Jeremy Cobb 1. That's Cobb with 2 B's and the number 1. And on Twitch, where I stream video games, where I, who am not a gamer, will stream video games for the first time, playing classic games. We just finished Shadow of Mordor recently, and we've done a bunch of different games, including the first Halo. I'd never even played a Halo game before. We did Pentiment, we did Baldur's Gate 3, we also did Metal Gear Solid. So go check me out at twitch.tv/casualquestlive to go see me stream some games.
Amazing. Liv, please introduce yourself and whatever you want to pitch.
Sure thing. Hi, I'm Liv Kennedy. I use she, her pronouns. I am also a part of Three Black Halflings. I am a host, and I was also a part of the Herald of Shadows. I played Angela Crawford, and she's very fun. She's very much the opposite of the character I'm playing here today. More confident and sassy. Definitely check out Kickstarter. You should follow it and stuff, and it's gonna be real good, gang. So you should really check it out. If you want to hear a bit more from me, you can find me. I'm at Does Dark Magic on most social media platforms. I'm also sorry, that's my dog in the background scratching away. You can find me on Twitch as well, twitch.tv/Olivia Does Dark Magic, where I play spooky games and cute games and wildcard games, and it's a ton of fun. So yeah, thanks for having me. It's been a lot of fun, Dane. Thank you.
Thank you. Last but certainly not least, the incredibly aptly named Candace the Magnificent.
Thank you. Hello, I'm Candace. You can find me across the internet on Blue Sky and Twitter at the Candace Marie, and then at Candace Magnificent everywhere else, like YouTube, Discord, Twitch, etc. I play Hecate Hopewell in City of the Black Rose, Herald of Shadows. So I'm going to tell you to go look at that Kickstarter as well. It is a fantastic setting. I had a wonderful time making my character for that setting. You can hear me as an occasional guest host on Three Black Halflings as well. If you want to hear more of my things, just check me out on social. I am in a bunch of stuff across the internet. But if you want some cool stuff right away, check out the new game Monaco 2 on PS5, Switch, Xbox, and Steam. I play Una the Brute. You can also hear me in the audio drama Partial Veil, as well as a variety of AP podcasts like Bloom and Blight and Frequencies.
Hell yeah. It's been an honor and privilege to play with our excellent guests this week, and I can't think of a better way to kick off Campaign 2 Frontiers than with Liv, Jeremy, and Candace. If you're getting excited for the start of Campaign 2 and you're thinking, I want to be a part of this, I want to get in on this, I want to be a part of the action and excitement and world building that is happening here, well, you can. Head on over to our Discord at noquestcast.com, click the Discord link, you'll be brought in, and you'll have a ton of different ways to participate in the show. First, we're bringing back the naming of NPCs like we did in season 1. You can suggest a bunch of names. We will pick from them as we need characters. Second, you can participate in the voting. There's two sort of phases or groups of voting. There's the council votes, which are on our Patreon. So if you'd like to support the show, you'll be able to vote in the council votes. But otherwise, the Discord votes will get the citizen votes, which are free to participate in. Anyone can join as long as you're part of the Discord. And finally, if you have an idea of a group, what we call a faction, that would arise and you would like to sort of play a character in the world on the Discord, you can try to rally a group of people, create a faction, and they will be legit canon characters within the show. The factions will exist. I don't know how much we'll be able to use them. It's all sort of, we're just figuring it out as we go. But already there are 3 factions, and I have already got plans for all 3 of them. So just saying, factions are a great way to sort of get your hand in the show. Our next episode will be our Quiet Year world building. Quiet Year is a world building game that we play. Niall, Ryan, and I construct sort of the bones of this world and this new planet with a couple little twists. After that, we'll be doing session 0, introducing to the new characters, and then we're right in it, baby. We're going. To keep up to date on all of our news, follow us on socials at NoQuestCast. If you want to talk about the show, make sure you use the hashtag NoQuestCast. And if you want to participate in the show, head on over to our Discord at noquestcast.com. We hope you enjoy the rest of the episode, and we will see you in 2 weeks' time. Does anyone have engineering?
Yes.
I do too.
Roll me some engineering checks.
I suitably do not.
25.
Only a 13 for me.
Cool. Bexley, you notice it almost immediately that all of your systems, all of your landing procedures are down. Everything on your pod is going absolutely fucking haywire. You are able to see out these small like little windows, and you are on these like multicolored clouds. These clouds that look like almost like oil spills. The way that the light hits them, you see those sort of like prismatic rainbows. This is what these clouds look like, and based on that roll, you can tell that they are disrupting your systems, and you are falling a lot faster and probably way off course at this point.
Can Bexley try to use computers, like the computers of the system, to reroute and like triangulate where they're going to be and how far away from their landing point they'll
Absolutely.
end up?
Yeah.
That's a 28.
Hell yeah. It's almost like second nature to you in terms of like there's no panic. There's you just do your job, and you do it so well and so efficiently, and you're able to sort of get into like a manual override system, and you feel your landing thrusters come back on, but whatever this interference is like fucking everything up beyond that. But right now you're in a controlled descent, so you're not going to crash. But unfortunately, that sort of, even that just like little brief period of time has thrown you way off course. And as you break through atmosphere and emerge out of these clouds, you get a sort of panoramic view of this planet that you're landing on. In the far distance to the north, you see that oil rig. You see the arm crashing down over and over again. You see the city and the beam of light coming from it. You also see just west of the city a massive chasm in the earth, stretching about maybe like 2 or 3 miles long. And then you see what is probably going to be your landing zone is a desert on the southeastern tip of this continent that you're hurling towards. And you're probably going to land in this red sand desert. How would you guys like to brace for impact? You are coming in a little hot. You're not going to get hurt per se. There's landing procedures in place thanks to Bexley. How would you like to brace for impact?
I basically draw most of my biomass into the demi dimensions inside of my armor, and only leave enough to basically control the regular basic reflex motor functions inside. So most of me is safe theoretically, and enough of me is there to just sort of move the body, but I can't do like fine motor things. But I mostly go limp. And maybe I even like curl up into a ball or something. Whatever the classic crash landing safety procedure is, I assume that position.
Perfect. Voyage?
Yeah, I think Voyage's initial reaction is to just curl up into a ball. The way you're told, like, I don't know if this is a thing, but were you ever told, like, if you had to, like, jump out of a building or, like, out of a window that you should, like, curl up? That might be completely wrong.
No, that is the opposite of what I was told. You're supposed to spread out if it's high enough, at least.
Okay. Not knowing, I don't know the truth. And
or aim with your feet, so. I think, depending on the distance. I think it depends on how far you're falling. It depends on how far you're falling.
That's going to break it. I don't know. We should talk about this afterwards. But
yeah, you can do like a roll. You're supposed to go into like a roll.
like a ball. Yeah, I go into a ball.
No, you hit with your feet first and then launch yourself into a roll.
I go into a ball.
As a ball straight into the ground.
I'm a ball. I'm in
All
the
right,
corner. I'm a ball.
Bexley.
Bexley uses defensive dispersal and tries to create like a shield with their nanosites around
Nice.
themselves to cushion the impact.
Yeah.
Somebody's good at this game, and it's not me.
Before you realize that you've smashed into this red sand desert. Thankfully, because of the nature of this sand, you're able to sort of like dig into and not really crash. You can tell that like the sand is almost up to the window, so you're gonna have to kind of like claw your way out as the pod opens up and you are let out into this new planet. Who rolled second highest initiative? I think that was you, Liv, right?
Yeah, I think so.
Great. Could you roll me a d6, please?
Okie dokie. And it's a 6.
As the doors open for your pod, there is this noise, almost like wind chimes, but for, almost earthier. Like instead of a sort of like wood or metal sound, it kind of sounds like the sands, the wind coming through these dunes are creating a song. And it feels like the sands themselves are singing. It's quite nice. It's actually quite relaxing. It's very sort of a beautiful natural phenomenon that's happening here, and you are hit with this song as you leave the pod. It takes a little bit of finesse to get out because as you're kind of like clawing your way out, sand is pouring in, but the three of you are able to get out of the pod. And you know that you are miles away from this oil rig, if that is where you're supposed to be. If you would like to give me a perception check, all three of you, I can let you know the surroundings.
Would it be worth taking 10 on this for a 27?
Sure. Yeah,
I also got a 27.
Hell yeah.
Oh, I got a natural 20 for a 22.
Natty 20.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. I mean, the three of you are professionals. You guys are good at this. This what you do. You get a great layout of the area. First thing you guys notice is a small, what looks like settlement, maybe like a couple feet away from you. Like you seem to have just narrowly missed crashing into this place. They are these like domed huts with a large sort of a sand shield on one side. It doesn't seem to be like a 360 thing. It seems to be like just facing the southeast. And then for the people that rolled over 25, you also notice small like tubes coming out of the ground, and you get the sense that there is some sort of underground network or something that you can access from these tubes.
I turn to Bexley and say, would it be best to reach one of those tubes and see if we can access the underground network and see if that will allow us to travel faster, perhaps make contact with any residents?
I think so. I mean, it's not time for us to pull the ripcord just because we're off course a little bit, so I do think that's a good fail-safe in order to get where we need to go a lot faster. We are quite a ways off from our destination.
I don't know if either of you did this. Should we have mentioned to Mission Control about your vision and about the possible dangers of what we are about to face? I mean, I know it's going to be dangerous anyway, but it might be something for them to know.
I feel as though that is something that we perhaps should have done before we left. And
perhaps, yeah, there was a lot
of dimension.
Yeah. Oh, okay. I guess there's no way to contact. Okay, sure. Sorry, I forgot about that bit. Okay.
The little bit of flesh that is stored wherever you wanted it to in your metal body extends a tiny little hand and it just pats you.
Oh no!
The teensiest little hand.
Horrible. Oh, I'm gonna say it's like on a belt. Looped around my waist so I can just hit it like weirdly inappropriately touches the small of my back.
Oh no! It's the teensiest little hand. It's like on a doll. It's like on a little doll hand. Little fleshy doll hand is little, and you can hear like a little slough.
Horrible. I'm like turning the bell around like I don't know where to put it.
Great. Yeah, you go and kind of peer down these little tubes that are sort of like ground chimneys, essentially, and you notice that there are ladders that go down. Every now and then you'll see you feel a gust of wind that kind of shoots excess sand up, and this is how you can tell that, like, this is probably how they're not getting clogged with the shifting sands. Is every now and then there's a expulsion of air that just blows some of the sand that has gathered near it. Down the ladder there is a small, what looks like, garage, and in it there are what look like vehicle bays. They're all empty except for one, and you can tell very obviously by the giant drill on the front of it that this is meant to be sort of a underground traversal vehicle, but it does also have like land capabilities as well. You see it has like these big treads. In front of each of the vehicle bays is a door, and the one in front of the vehicle that is there seems to be like, it opens for a second and like and it seems to be stuck.
Anybody around?
It doesn't seem like, you don't see anyone.
Is it standard procedure to commandeer a vehicle if we should have the need of it?
You guys have like, you are like licensed to kill, sort of like any means necessary. Obviously you're here on like a peacekeeping mission, or essentially you want to rescue people if you can, or avert the apocalypse if you can. But the people you work for do not give a shit if you steal a car.
Bexley shoots at the door to try and get it to open, and then writes on like a little sticky note sort of thing. Really sorry. Be back soon. Will fix. And then their employee ID number.
When you shoot the door, you realize that like there seems to be something stuck out of eye shot. It seems to be something on the one of the edges of the door where the door would like fold into. There seems to be something blocking that.
Something, Dane.
They still leave the sticky note.
Nice. I'm just worried about what the something is. That's all. You go, Jeremy.
Oh yeah. I was gonna ask, because I have blind sense. Would I be able to? I don't know if blind sense works around corners, but if there is an opening, is it possible for me to position myself so that my blind sense can sense whatever is the blockage might be?
You said it was blind sense vibration, right?
Yes.
So it's kind of like an echolocation sort of situation. You get there's like every time this door fails to open, it like, and every time it makes that loud sort of like clang and closes back up again, you get a ping of a humanoid arm that is somehow in where the door goes into.
Does it resemble the marionette arms?
No.
Oh, thank God.
This seems to be a person of some species that has been crammed into where the door would go into, and it just keeps smushing.
Likely dead, then.
Yeah. It would be a very good guess. And if they're not, you would certainly hope that it's going to happen soon.
Okay, I telepathically relate that through my little bits to both of my compatriots. That's the situation.
Bexley's eyes go wide. Their kind of angular features look terrified, and they just slowly peel the sticky note off. I'm not good with civilians. We can't save this person. Do we just pick it out of there?
I could get information from them.
Why don't we just move? I'll try and very gently move the person. So I'll like press my foot against the door to stop it from like closing, and I'll try and pull them out.
Neo-Plasm, maybe you should also ask your questions. We need to know what's waiting for us.
As soon as Voyage managed to pull the person out, I would like to.
If I do,
yeah. Do they succeed? Is that
you pull the arm out? And that seems to be the last piece of resistance. And as you sort of like wedge this arm out, you hear the door slowly, with resistance, open up all the way, with some unpleasant noises accompanying it.
Okay.
I wave the arm at you like, okay, talk to it.
Okay. Let me see if there are any specifications here. It doesn't look like it. Okay.
I place it gingerly down on the floor.
It just says one dead creature. Would this count as a dead creature?
100%, yes.
Okay. It says a corpse must have a mouth or means to speak in order for the spell to function.
I will say, because of the nature of what you do, you connect on like a cellular level. I'll allow you to use this spell.
Oh, thank you. I would like to open like a little circular receptacle in my abdomen, and
I leave.
I sort of insert the arm into I fold in the fingers into the classic pointed position, and just sort of like slowly insert this piece into my suit, into my biomass, and the little tiny tendrils and little tiny hands like reach out to grasp it as I absorb it into myself. And I would like to cast Grave Words. This allows me, let's see, I can force them to talk to me, but I can't ask specific questions. They utter random sentences. So actually, I would not like to cast Grave Words. I'd like to cast specifically Speak with Dead, I believe. I think I have that one instead. Or we could go a different direction, and I could go for Akashic Download, and I could try and summon the person's spirit. But that one will give me a skill check. So they'll give me a bonus to a skill check. Would that work under the circumstance if I were going to try use a skill check to try and figure out what's kind of going on here?
I would say if you're looking for sort of immediate information, I would do Speak with Dead.
Okay, then that's what I will do. Yes, I would, as my cells reach the cells of this arm, I grant life to this still dying piece of flesh as I absorb it and break it down into myself. And I can ask it up to 6 questions. So anyone who wants to suggest a question can absolutely do so. But the first question that I will ask is, what did this to you?
You feel the hand almost giving you like sign language, like the fingers as it's being decomposed inside you. It seems to be that's how it's relaying this information, and it says the controlled.
I will relay this answer to everyone. I will turn to everyone and say, I was going to ask it next, what are the controlled, or what is or are the controlled?
I think that,
I ask that question. What is or are the controlled?
The ones that always were and will persist.
I relay that answer as well.
Does that sound anything like your vision?
It does resemble perhaps those beings, perhaps a description of those beings that I saw. I could ask it if that is the description of the controlled, if that it matches the controlled.
Bexley?
Yeah, I think that's it. I don't like feeling out of my comfort zone.
The little tendril flesh the little bit of flesh of me that has been incorporated presumably into your biomass gives you a little tiny massage wherever it is.
Oh, it's the back of my neck. I have like a little scar.
Gives
right
you
there.
you get a little gentle neck massage to try and help calm your nerves.
I go to
soothe
try and pat you on the back, and I see that that's happening, and I immediately step away like, geez, no. Oh, God.
So question number 3, I give a description of the marionette creatures that I saw and say, is that, or does it sound similar to, the controlled?
We've never seen that.
Okay, that's question number 3. Question number, I relay that to everyone else.
Could you ask them if anything strange has been happening recently? Anything out of the ordinary? Apart from the murder?
Yeah, I ask, I say, I assume you mean on a planetary level.
Yeah, yes.
So, yeah, I ask the creature inside of me, has anything particularly strange or out of the ordinary, or perhaps dire, been happening to this world of late?
The convergence in the city.
I relay that. I would like to propose that I ask them perhaps the name of this world, or how best to travel. Perhaps I could give a description of the oil rig or the sea, and understand how best to travel to that location.
I think Bexley kind of looks puzzled for a second. Didn't you say on the ship that you wanted to ask one of your other selves a question, but we weren't sure where we were headed? Maybe ask it questions that can get you more information, more intel.
Yeah, because I think that we can probably get there using the big mole machine, right? I point to the thing with the drill on it.
I would hope. Then I will look inward and ask. I will tell everybody that I'm about to ask, what is the name of this world?
Could all of you give me will saves?
Oh, no.
Sure,
Okay.
yeah.
That is an 18, I believe.
22.
23.
Whew.
Bexley and Voyage, you are hit with feedback. It sounds like someone has just turned like a microphone full gain and put it near a speaker. Like, it rattles your brain how loud this is. For you, Neo-Plasm, maybe it's because you're the one communing with it. This hits you on a much different level. There's that noise, but then there's also a just all-consuming dread that comes with it. You take 32 points of damage.
I have a question. I have a +2 racial bonus to saving throws against mind affecting effects. Would this affect? If this is a mind affecting effect, would bump me up to a 20? Would that change?
That would change. You would also just hear that. For a second, you feel like this horrible feeling, this horrible sensation, and then you are able to sort of like other minds sort of like add in to sort of shield yours, and a small drip of blood comes out your ear, Voyage.
I like feel it, and I kind of go, "Is this normal for this body? Does this happen?"
I think we're too fucking late.
So when I said the words out loud, that's what seems to have triggered this.
When it answered.
Oh, so it never gave me a verbal answer. It was just a
yeah.
psychic wave. Did that psychic wave seem to originate from the hand itself, or
Yes.
from?
It seemed that when it said the name of this planet, you got hit with the.
Okay.
So it answered. You just weren't able to receive it.
Is there a check that we could do to help us understand how that functions, or is it not worth looking into?
I don't think you would be able to.
Okay.
No, it does not make sense what just happened.
Could you maybe
I have
ask
one
it-
last question.
I was going to ask for how to stay safe if it has any advice, but unless there's anything else.
I turned to Bexley. Did you have any suggestions?
My suggestion is that we get over there yesterday, honestly.
I will happily climb onto the vehicle. I'll still have the thing inside of me, and we can be
talk.
In fact, we can already have been climbing in and
Yeah, I will.
there.
I will say that you guys are traveling.
Yeah.
It seems like the drill works exceptionally well in the sand, but once you kind of like hit the edge of the desert, you seem to have to like come out of the sand because burrowing through rock would take you so long. So you are now, I'm going to say the city is about like maybe a 5-minute way out, and the city stretches across, so it doesn't seem like it's something you would be able to go around. Like you could, but it would take a very long time. If you want to hit me with that last question, we'll say after that you have arrived to the city, unless you guys want to do something wild.
My last question will be, and I will vet this with everyone else. My suggestion for the last question is, how do we avoid your fate?
Yeah, advice. That sounds good, right, Bexley?
Yeah, that's great.
Yeah, then I will say that's what I'll
There's
ask.
a moment of pause, like a distinguished pause of like thinking, and then it says, "You can't."
I relay that.
Like fucking hell we can't. We can at least try. And tries to like engage this to be a little bit faster. Can I know that I have the ability to separate my nanites from myself. Can I try to like grease the wheels a little bit with them? Like
100%.
I don't know technically what this would be. As
Give me
far
an
as
engineering
skill.
check. We'll see how well you do.
Cool. 21.
Yeah,
Nice.
that's enough. Like you tend to. I feel like your nanites are actually like putting like spikes on the treads to like give you a little bit more traction.
Yeah.
To speed you up, and you manage to make it into the city, and it is a ghost town. There is no signs of life. You can see that like there are cars that have been like parked. It looks like sort of like day-to-day life has just vanished. There's signs of things like happening and opening, and life has existed here, but at this moment it's gone. And then you hear a rumble in the distance, and one of those spires that you saw begins collapsing in. And you know that you are now at a different vantage point of what you saw earlier, Neo-Plasm. You are in the city as it's being destroyed.
Oh. I relay that to everyone.
Bexley looks around, kind of understanding this from the information that you had kind of downloaded us on earlier, and realizes that we are at the forefront of this problem rather than being within it. Is there any way to tell, like, around us? I have life science, so I don't know if that kind of counts or if maybe it's a perception roll, but is there any way to tell if the people here are dead and it's a ghost town, or if they've already been evacuated?
It's tough to say.
I have culture, if that would help.
Yeah, okay.
I will roll I got a 14. I have a plus 11 to culture, but I got a 14. If there's anything anyone can do to help, that would be great.
I am able to take the DC down of culture checks because I have a good knowledge of things. I don't know if that would help at all, Dane.
Yeah. I'll let that work. I'll also say I'm going to give you a little bit of a bonus as well because of your conversation with the arm. You were told that one of the weird things happening was a convergence in the city.
Mm-hmm.
That could mean a lot of things. One of the things could be that everyone in the city is meeting somewhere. And the most obvious place would be this giant beam of light that is emitting from the center of it.
I was going to suggest that we head towards that. I will relay that to the rest of the party then.
I think Bexley kicks the vehicle back into gear to head us in that direction. But on the way, kind of reminds everyone, remember, we have our failsafe. If there is a problem, we can't save these people, we need to get the fuck out of here. Our prime directive, sure, is to make sure that we avert a cataclysm and try to save as many people as we can. But if these people don't want to be saved, we need to save ourselves.
Absolutely.
Voyage looks conflicted about that, but kind of nods along uncertainly.
I got one last thing. Is there any, either through life science or mysticism or a similar skill, a way for me to, with the knowledge and at the exposure that I've had to this place, both in my vision and through the energy of having absorbed part of a denizen of the planet into myself, is there any way that I can maybe guess at what the meaning behind either convergence or controller? Like it could be that everybody's meeting in one place. It could, but there's a lot of things that could mean as to what exactly is convergence. Do I think that convergence? I'll ask a specific question. Do I think that convergence is referring to that the light itself is a combination? Do I think that the light is a manifestation of the will of the people of the planet or the will of the planet? That would be my question. Is there a role that I can make to guess at that? If not, absolutely fine. No problem. I just wanted to ask.
I'm going to give you a mysticism check.
Okay.
And we'll see where that gets us.
All right. That is a 34.
Great. There's a couple things that convergence means to you. One, yes, a collection of people. People have moved to a certain spot. Interdimensionally, there's also a phenomenon known as convergence when dimensions overlap and cross over and line up. You know about that, and that doesn't seem like this. But I think you have a very strong sense that whatever this light is probably isn't anyone on this planet's doing.
Okay. Then that is what I will say. In response to the idea of if this is what the people of the planet want, I will suggest that to Bexley, that I suspect that this may not be their will, or if it is their will now, it was not their will to begin with. The will may have originated from off this world.
You see kind of a pained expression kind of come across Bexley's face, and they squeeze the dog tags that are kind of tucked away inside of the front of their coveralls, and they kind of just nod. Yeah. I don't mean to be heartless or anything. I just, you can't help those who don't want it. So hopefully they'll be open to it and we can get everybody out safely. We signed up for this job, and whatever we have to do, we'll do.
I agree. I just can't help but think that they're no better than the marionettes, really, are they? You know?
Puppets are
They're
puppets.
being controlled.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Perhaps they are controlled.
I assume continuing to drive towards the light. As you finish this conversation, you round a corner and you see this giant column of light, a perfect hole cut out of this massive sort of like central plaza of the city. And around it, you see a ring of these porcelain marionettes, all holding hands in a ring around it. And then you see another one of those spires fall, this time right in front of you. And as it collapses down and in, it feeds almost like a holding a vacuum cleaner near some fabric. It sucks this whole skyscraper down and into the hole. It collapses naturally, like it falls like it would normally, but the second it reaches the light, it just right in. And then you see the moon begin to change. And much like you saw before, it begins rapidly, almost like it's spinning, and every time it spins, it's a new phase of the moon. And then a colossal hand reaches up and out of the light and comes crashing down into this plaza. And as it grips the ground to sort of heave another section of an arm out of the light, you feel the terrain, the ground itself, pull in, like someone yanking a tablecloth closer to them. Your car lurches forward, and then you see another hand come out of this hole and pull again. And once again, this whole horizon gets pulled once more. And now more things are beginning to get sucked into this beam of light.
Do we stay? Do we go? Ripcord? What do we do?
I say ripcord. I don't think we can affect... It seems as though the wheels are in motion.
Yeah, we're too fucking late. I feel bad for these people, but there's nothing we can do against that.
The knowledge is enough.
The front of your car begins lifting up, and you realize that now the ground is being not just pulled forward towards the light, but up. And you feel as if the entire world, not just the road, not just the car, not just the buildings, is nothing more than fabric draped over something. And it's being pulled up. There's a yank as more of the world towards the light. The car now lurches forward even more. You're about maybe like 5 or 6 feet away from this light. As you get pulled forward, can everyone give me a reflex save if you are looking to grab your ripcord to see if you can keep it in your hand as you are pulled forward?
I got a natural 20 for a 30.
Ooh.
21 for me.
I don't think Voyage does. I think they are naturally curious. I think they know that the other two will hopefully get back. I think they want to see what is in here.
Okay. Neo-Plasm, you're able to activate your ripcord as you're able to hold on to it. Bexley, same thing. You have a firm grip on it. You have a practiced hand. You are able to activate it if you wish. Are you activating your ripcords?
Yes.
Yes, but I think as I click it, I go to look to make sure the other two in my party are doing so, and seeing Voyage's hands empty, I think there is like a wail as Bexley reveals her true form. They turn into a fox creature. You see their eyes kind of narrow and these ears kind of come up, and the hair on their head goes all over the rest of their body as they scream, "No, not like this!"
I think Voyage just kind of shakes their head and says, "I'll report back."
As you both pull your ripcord, Neo-Plasm, you're pulled, and once again you hear that pop. Same thing with you, Bexley. You hear the pop. You're in that space where you don't exist, and then a pop again, and you're back at the space station. Voyage, you get to witness the end of a planet, perhaps more. You're not sure the scope of this, as the final yank of reality is pulled away from you. Everything goes black, and then a soft purple haze washes into your vision. You are standing on what seems like a polished black marble surface. As you become aware of it, as you realize you're no longer in this car, you're no longer seemingly anywhere, you feel a hard substance begin to creep up your leg, and this black floor is locking you in place and creeping up you, calcifying and filling your leg with sharp obsidian shards. It goes up to about almost your mid-thigh, locking you in place. And then you hear a voice behind you as a purple hand drapes softly on your shoulder, and a hot breath on the back of your neck creeps around to your ear, and it whispers, "I'd like to offer you a deal." Somewhere in a distant universe, the Euceron Memorial Beacon drifts through the asteroid field, still rippled with the ore that was the catalyst for the planet that once stood here's destruction. The beacon broadcasts the story of Euceron, its people, and its cautionary tale of greed and corruption. With a sudden flash of light, a shockwave sends the beacon hurtling towards a nearby asteroid. For 25 years, Euceron's absence was one more void in the infinite darkness of space. But now, a new planet stands in its place. Casimol has long been known as a system of second chances, and the arrival of this world brings new opportunities, a new home, new questions and mysteries, new discoveries and new dangers, and most importantly, new adventures.